What is going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of Nasdaq100 analysis, and we're going to pick up from where we left off last week in regards to some of the moves that we talked about, as well as some of the moves that I made in the market and where I think market is going to go week commencing the 27th of May. All right, so make sure you stay tuned and watch all the way through to the end, because there's going to be a whole bunch of gems that I believe you're going to find useful. Also, if you're new to this channel and this is your first time being here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. These three things will be greatly appreciated. And also, if there are ways that you know of how I can improve the channel, subjects that you want me to talk about, by all means put all of that in the comment section and I will make sure I will get back to you, or obviously make a video in response to that. So with all of that covered, we're going to get straight into the business of the day in regards to market analysis, right? Last week, the areas that we marked out of interest were of the weekly highs and the weekly lows, and price kept pushing upwards, right? So I had to restart my PC, so all of the labels that I put, pretty much I didn't save it, so when I restarted it, it all went. So let's put these ones back. So these were the labels that were there before. Okay, roundabouts might not be dead on, but more or less, right? So we had weekly high over here and we have weekly low down here. Okay, and once again the weekly high was taken out, but how this weekly high was taken out is really important to see how that actually took place, right? So let me just zoom in a little bit and we're going to go into that, as well as I'm going to show you the moves that I made, because I said I was looking for sales and I definitely took some sales, and that worked out really well. But however, we're going to go into the detail of this, right? Detail of this area over here. So this is the weekly high as it stands, right, from the previous week. So that would have been week commencing the 13th, right? And as we can see is how price kind of pushed its way through. There was not enough momentum, so it pushed all the way through. Then it gave us a small little candles over here, right? Then obviously it pushed up some more, okay? Then it came back down, and then it was playing around in this region for a bit, okay? Then obviously it came down, then it started to push back up again. So had you have seen this and you decided that you wanted to put in a buy and use this area here as a stop, you would have done quite well in terms of the climb that it did to the upside. But in my opinion, looking at how it did it, I would have stayed away from this move. I literally would have stayed away from this move, just because the strength of how it pushed through, there wasn't a lot of confidence in that, in my opinion. Okay, so I would have just sat this one out, right? So that's what happened. You put in your buy, and I think I actually put in a little trade, a little long position on that. Okay, so that was I think I put a long position about here somewhere, right? That was on the previous video, and obviously it's not there because, like I said, I restarted the PC, so naturally it all went, right? So if you had seen that thumbnail and taken that move, this would be you right now, okay? Providing obviously chances are you probably would have got out here somewhere, but if you didn't, this would have been you right now in terms of what you would have gained, obviously, via watching the video last week, because I talked about it. Although the microphone in that video is not that great, my apologies for that. I did talk about that, and that would have been the move that you would have got, right? Okay, so let's get rid of this, and then let's talk about what I did. So basically, essentially, what I did was, in regards to the trade, how I basically made my move in the market was I got a really small downwards push to the downside, okay? And it kind of went a bit like this. So soon as price took out the swing low of that day, which was on the Thursday, I got in on this one right here with a sell. So I got in on this one over here with a sell, somewhere down here, because I took the next candle, right? So I took the next candle. I would have wanted it to be higher, but that's not what happened. I got it down here somewhere, right? And then I had my stop up here. Okay, so that was my stop loss. And then my TP was all the way down here somewhere. Like, it was really, actually, I'm not even gonna bother, but it was all the way down. Actually, as a matter of fact, let me just show you. So my TP was down here somewhere. Right, so TP was down here somewhere. That was my TP, right? Obviously, we didn't get anywhere near that. And what happened was, as soon as we got this swing high on the Friday, right, I thought it was going to push down even lower, so I bought my trading stop about here. Okay, I thought it was going to push down lower, and when I saw this was about 9 in the morning. Okay, so essentially what's taking place is prices come up in the early hours of the morning and push down some more. I've seen it about 9, 8 in the morning, and I've moved my trading stop to about here somewhere, right? Moved my trading stop to about here, and literally, so I'm selling. So I started selling from over here, and I got taken out down here. So it was a very, very, very small gain, and that's how we basically navigated that situation last week. One trade with one win, and that was that, right? So let's get rid of all of these for now, because we don't need them. We're going to be bringing them back in later. Okay, actually, as a matter of fact, let me just assign the labels that we need for these right now. And then we're going to be about the business of getting all of this stuff set up properly. So we do weekly high, and then we're going to drop that down here. Okay, so that was the setup, right? That's what we got going on right now. Now we need to do a more in-depth analysis so that we have an idea as to exactly what market is doing, right? Because the structure that we had over here, it's not following the overall pattern. So there's a change to all of this, which basically means for me that I have missed something in my overall analysis. So then we have to go back to the drawing board, right? So as it stands, this is how it looks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this over and keep this as it is, right? So we're going to keep this like this, keep the trend line a bit like that, okay? And we're going to get rid of this trend line over here, and we're going to get rid of this trend line over here, because I think this is a super ascending wedge that we have. So it's a large one. So we're having a super and ascending wedge. So once I do it like this, okay, we kind of have a really, really, really good idea, right? This looks more legit than the other ones that I had before. So I think this is the actual structure that we need to keep an eye on in regards to how the NAS is moving, right? So with that all done, we can now go about the moves of what we plan to do next week and how we need to keep an eye on things, right? So long as this structure that I have drawn holds, right? So long as it holds, okay, there is a higher probability that price will be breaking downwards, right? Now, when I say that, it doesn't mean because I've drawn these structures, price is going to come down because I've said it. No, that's not what I mean. What I basically mean is that chances are it's going to touch this level somewhere, which has already done it over here actually, and then begin to pull back down again. So with that reasoning, all I would be looking for is for a weekly low to be taken out, and that would be this weekly low over here. So let's go to an hour. So that would be this weekly low over here, right? So I'm not expecting a weekly high to be taken out next week, as a matter of fact, right? So weekly high next week, 18959.8. That's the high over here. Weekly low, 18557.0. I'm expecting this one over here to be taken out. And the only reason why I'm saying that is based off the current position of the market right now. Okay, current position of the market right now. This overall structure in itself, okay, has a probability to break downwards, right? It has a high probability of breaking downwards. Right now, we are on the buy side of this overall structure at the moment in terms of how market is been moving. We are on the buy side of that right now, and I'm expecting price to come all the way down, right? So that's based on this analysis that I've done so far. Now, if you've hanged on up to now, right, and you're using the free version of TradingView, then I have a gem for you, right? So for that, we're going to go into the 1 hour. We're going to go into the 1 hour, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on volume profile. Now volume profile, okay, is it's like an indicator, but it's more price action. Okay, so it pretty much shows you where all business is being done in the market, essentially, right? So I'm just going to give you a brief roundup as to what it is, right? By all means, right, in your own time, go and do the research, okay? So we're going to use this one over here as an example, just this one over here as an example, how I've got it set up, right? So this white line over here and this white line over here is the volume high and low. So this is the volume low and this is the volume high, right? And on this level right here, this is the POC, point of control. All right, so this is where the vast majority of business is being done. This is the focal point, right? Now, point of control moves up and down as the candles progresses, right? So there was never a time in this area where a point of control was established in this zone right here, okay? But there was once upon a time, before price obviously progressed to the level that it did, there was a point of control in this area, right? Because we can see by the volume in this area that there was a lot of activity going on, so it's only natural that a point of control would have been there, and a point of control later on, as market progressed, a point of control found itself up here. Now the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because if you are using the essentials version of TradingView, okay, this comes as part of your package. So I've got this set up right now on my chart as a session volume profile. So it's a session volume profile, so it just basically goes across all of my chart, okay? And if you're using the free version, you will not have this unless you get the paid version. But however, if you don't want to get the paid version, okay, I will show you how you can get this profile on your chart without you having to pay for it. In my view, I'm like, why won't you pay for it, right? But literally, financial situation is different for everybody, so I'm not going to use one brush to paint all. If you can get it, get it. If you can't, this is how you get volume profile on your chart, right? So I am actually using this. But then I realized that there is a free version. So because it wasn't free, I never told you guys about it, right? Literally, because it wasn't free, I never told you. But because I know there is a free version, I'm going to show it to you, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our side window where we find the long position, short position on the sidebar, okay? And then we're going to scroll down, and then we have fixed volume profile and anchored volume profile, right? Now the fixed volume profile is you can draw it across each session that you're trading, right? And you can also narrow it down to see where the activities were most, where market was most active, right? So we're using this one as an example, and we can say that throughout the whole day itself, okay, this level right here was the point of control. So all business was being done in this zone, the majority of it, okay? But however, if we move it back, we can see that it was just in this area right here, okay, right? The session profile is better, right? But however, if you do not have that, this is the best thing that you can use, right? Which is going to be the fixed profile, and then you can use that in between your session levels to get where market was most active. So as you drag this along, we can see that the volume profile gets bigger to accommodate the changes in this overall market. All right, so that was that. I'll give you another example of it. How I've explained it, it's not the best explanation for it, so I'm going to leave that to you to go and obviously do your own research on that. But it's a fantastic tool to use on your charts, especially if you trade in the way that I do, right? So you just added another volume profile on in this area over here. So we can see that, okay, if you were looking for sales, so long as we were selling below the point of control, everything would have been fantastic and we would have got a nice little move to the downside, right? And then I'm going to show you the next one, which is going to be anchored volume profile. So let's do the anchored volume profile. Anchored volume profile basically is where we will find a spot in the market. So we find a spot in the market, we just click on that spot, which is a low point. And what it would do is it will give us all the data on this side right here, and it will show us the area of where business was being done the most. This comes in handy for swing trades, okay? So that weekly high being taken out, so if you had your weekly high taken out at this level, and you can see that all the business was being done on that zone. Hence why I say weekly highs and weekly lows are so important, because this is where people are actually doing business, right? You would have noticed, okay, as soon as price goes above a certain level, I'm going to hop in. I'm going to hop in, right? Now, I was using this more for a sell. So where the nodes were least active, which was up here, this was where I decided to put my sell, because it guaranteed that price at its bare minimum will head down to the point of control, right? And it did. And then when it did and it got below it and I thought it was going to come up, I put my trading stop right above it, right? Okay, so that's that there covered for all you awesome people, right? So we just dropped a few gems for you, right? So if you don't have that, go get that set up. Go and get that set up, okay? It's free. It only just enhances your effectiveness in the market. So I definitely recommend you go and get that. And moving forward, for all analysis videos that I will be doing, we're going to have this turned on, right? So moving forward, that's all going to be there. Oh, and I also forgot to add in this part as well. So let me just let me actually take this one off and show you this as well. So we're going to do the fixed range. We're going to bring it over here. Okay, so with this right now, you notice that this setup is slightly different from the one that I actually have on my chart, right? It's slightly different. So why is it different? Let's just take a quick look why it's different. So we're going to go into settings and I'll show you. Okay, so on my sessions, right, I have my row size set to 100. The row size are these activity or nodes that you can see right here, right? So these right here where the mouse is, these are the nodes and these are your row size, right? So I'm going to change mine to 100, and as you can see, we've got more nodes in there, right? So it actually helps us to pinpoint key areas of where business is being done, right? I don't use ticks, so I only just use by a number of rows. So that's what we just do. If we went to ticks, then it would just be like that. But obviously, I don't use ticks. I use just normal row numbers. So it's cool, right? The area, the value area, okay, is I just keep it at the default, which is 70%. So 70%, right? So that is between this white line up here and this white line down here. This is the area, and I'm going to show you that as well, so you're going to see it, right? But the main thing is what's going on here, which is where I want to keep it as least confusing as possible. So as it stands, we have the up, down. So the blue stands for up, the red stands for down, right? So we can see who's buying and who's selling kind of vibe, right? So that's what we got going on there. And then we've got the delta, right? So the delta is basically, it just gives you a round off as to exactly what's going on in this area, but the same kind of vibe, right? But either way, the problem that I have with the delta and the problem that I have with the up and down is that these colors can make you buyers in the moves that you're making in the market. And because it can make you buyers, it can also lead you to make a bad decision, right? So with that in mind, I've just set that down to total. Yep. So we're under total, we're getting the total amount of people that are taking interest in this area. I don't care if they're buying and I don't care if they're selling. All I know is they are very interested in this area, right? And that is the point that obviously I keep an eye on, and that's what I believe obviously is going to help you, right? So that's that. And then when we go into styles, this is where we can see that the volume area low, right? So if I click that off, you see it comes off, and this is the volume area high, and if I click that off, you see that comes off, right? And then obviously we've got the point of control, which is the red line right in the middle. Okay, so on YouTube, you're going to find tons of people talking about this. They will go into a much deeper breakdown as to how to use volume profiles on the chart, right? This is absolutely effective, okay? Especially in my style of trading, I think it comes in handy to find out where everyone is doing business, so I know how I should kind of position myself, if that makes sense, right? So obviously we're going to go back, we're going to turn this on, because moving forward, all technical analysis that I will be doing, you are going to be seeing the volume profile on the chart, right? You're definitely going to be seeing that there. and I believe that should help you with your analysis, right? And also, if you're finding all of this stuff quite tricky and you need to keep it really simple in terms of your trading style, all right, I have a whole bunch of backtesting videos that you should go check out. A whole bunch of gems in there that I believe will help you, so make sure you go take a look at those, as well as last week's video is also going to be here as well. So you're going to have a backtesting video, say in this corner, and last week's video, say in this corner. Last week's video, the volume in it is not too good, right? But however, if you bear with it, you're gonna see there was some gems in that one, and hopefully this video is gonna come out sounding okay. So with all of that covered, my awesome people from all around the world, I want to thank you for coming over to watch another episode of Nas100 Analysis, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be very, very soon. So for now, this is Pips and Points signing out.